gang violence and other kind of violence.
Get away! I could be at work, at school, in my car, I can still get shot by the police, but I can get shot anywhere.
So it is what it is.
What's good, shout around? It's a Black Gen Z mindset. Make sure you go ahead and like, comment, share, subscribe, and let's get into the video.
Police responded quickly to the Inglewood home at about 11 o'clock last night after reports that a 10-year-old girl was shot inside the home. She and another relative were inside her grandmother's room when a
10-year-old girl shot. Guys, this has become the norm in Chicago. Unfortunately, I've been telling you guys before, you know, women, children, it doesn't matter. These super gremlins are on demon time. And that's what we're seeing today. And I believe the purge laws actually went into effect. And if you guys haven't heard, Chicago, or Illinois rather, the whole state is, you know, implementing criminal justice reform, and they have a different way of approaching punishing these criminals. I actually saw a story that this guy who was robbing people at gunpoint, you know, for their vehicles, a carjacker, just got released from Chicago prisons, okay? So it's getting really bad. And this guy, I mean, he was bad news. He face all the way tatted up, like covered up. I mean, he was completely lost. He was a lost cause at this point. And they're letting these guys out, and this is pretty much the result of that.
A shot came through the window. Friends described the girl as sweet and friendly, not likely the intended target for a shooting. Paramedics rushed her to Comer Children's Hospital in serious condition.
It's terrible, you know. I mean, for stuff like this to happen, you know, I mean, to innocent people.
Willie Williams lives next door to the home where the girl was shot. His house also hit by gunfire. In fact, a bullet made it into his 9-year-old daughter's bedroom. Fortunately, she was not in the room at the time. The girl who was shot is a student at Perkins Bass Elementary just down the street. While school officials declined to speak on camera, the principal tells me the school community is praying for her. Police say they have no suspects but are continuing to investigate. Neighbors, meantime, are shaken.
For the kids' safety, I mean, it doesn't make any sense.
Her grandmother tells me the little girl was hit by the bullet in the thigh and that she is expected to make a full recovery. In fact,
and you know, thankfully she was not deleted from this, but it could have went left easily. It's not that hard. And these super gremlins, like I said, they don't care. They want to be known for busting a gun, and this is bragging rights. This is saying, oh, I made the news. This is how these guys are looking at these types of situations.
in fact, they do expect her to be released from the hospital this afternoon.
And Val and Terrell, we're hearing from police.
Chico.
The bullet came from outside her home. The 10-year-old girl was taken here to Comer Children's Hospital. Take a look here. This happened near 64th and Racine in the West Englewood neighborhood. You can see several officers on scene working to secure the home and search for evidence. It was around 11 p.m. last night. The child was inside of a back bedroom, police say, when shots were fired from outside the home.
I mean, in a back bedroom, so that bullet had to travel some ways. This is how reckless these super gremlins are moving out here. I mean, people don't understand how much danger they're in until, of course, you come across channels like mine. But other than that, man, it's rough out here. These super gremlins are on demon time.
A little girl was shot in the right leg and taken here to the hospital in serious condition. Now, meanwhile, a 14-year-old boy was also shot in the back. This happened just about an hour ago in the South Shore neighborhood. Police say he was walking down the sidewalk when someone opened fire. Both young victims are being treated here at Comer Children's Hospital. Any questions this afternoon? It's unclear what led up to this shooting or who the intended target might have been, but a 16-year-old girl is now left fighting for her life here at Mount Sinai.
So we just had a 10-year-old girl who was shot. Now we have a 16-year-old girl shot in Chicago. I mean, this thing is heating up, and I just don't understand how anybody is still living here. I really don't. Because every day waking up in Chicago is a risk. It's insane to me, but I mean, those liberals, they definitely know how to fill up a city.
A loud barrage of gunfire can be heard in this surveillance video from a nearby business. Though it didn't capture much, the cameras at the BP gas station where this shooting happened did. The manager tells me he handed over the surveillance video to police, hoping to find who shot a 16-year-old girl shortly before 2 o'clock this morning. Officers say the teenager was in the passenger seat of a vehicle parked at this BP gas station near 26th and Kildare in Little Village when she was shot in the head. The numerous gunshots, police say, came from inside of a black SUV that sped off. The 16-year-old victim was taken to Mount Sinai Medical Center in critical condition. And that teenager remains here at the hospital, while police say right now no one is in custody. Area 4 detectives are investigating.
What's good, Shadow Realm? It's your boy Jenquavius Jackson, and y'all already know I'm demonetized and shadow banned in this bitch. So if you want to contribute, go to the Cash App, the PayPal, the GoFundMe, or join the Patreon. Also, don't forget to visit the merch store for all your favorite BGZM News 17 gear, including our exclusive Trump is a Blood t-shirt. Go fast before they sell out. They are already flying off the shelves, no cap. And remember, these super gremlins are on demon time.
These South and West Side homeowners are angry. They believe the city has overextended itself and should be putting the tens of millions of dollars earmarked for migrants into Chicago's most vulnerable neighborhoods.
But the South Side has been under-resourced, underfunded for years, for decades.
And it's crazy that they are saying this now when they're the ones who voted for this. It literally amazes me. It amazes me how these people continue to do these things. I mean, are you serious? Are you serious, man? You're complaining about something that you voted in, and they still don't get it.
We have schools that need to be reopened. We have buildings that are abandoned that need to be business operated.
The group says the city has abandoned its Invest Southwest initiative, a Lightfoot-era program that was dedicated to reversing decades of disinvestment on Chicago's South and West Sides, promising to align more than $2.2 billion through public and private funding.
We are taxpayers, we're property owners. Our money should go towards fixing our communities.
The city has received more than 15,000 migrants since August 2022.
Woo! 15,000, and they're still coming. I mean, at this rate, we're having, the other day we just had 10,000 migrants, the most they had ever seen in one day, come over the border. Not migrants, illegal aliens. This ain't no game, y'all. This is not a game. And the community is feeling it, but all we can do is just laugh when they complain because they asked for this.
We have no more room. Y'all are embarrassing Chicago as a whole.
According to analysis by the ABC7 data team, there are more than 20 active migrant shelters across the city, 7 located on the South and West Sides.
Whether it's one shelter or whether it's 10 shelters, we're saying the facilities that are there for us The money needs to be put into those facilities for us.
In a statement from the mayor's office about the group's concerns and the status of Invest Southwest, a spokesperson says in part, quote, "We are committed to continued investment for all residents, but especially communities on the south and west sides that have long experienced disinvestment. We are the city of Chicago, and our shoulders are big enough to support both new arrivals and those who have long called this city home."
Mayor Johnson, the black aldermen, the black alderwomen in this city, you will stand for the black citizens of Chicago.
Now, the city says Mayor Johnson knows firsthand the impact of neglect on a vulnerable community and that he will never stop investing in people, all people, and delivering the affordable housing, fully funded schools, safer streets, and living wages that every person deserves in this city. So obviously you're hearing the mayor saying that the city has big enough shoulders to handle both the south and west sides, all of the neighborhoods, as well as the new arrivals. But of course, the people you heard from, they believe otherwise, and they're hoping that more attention be focused on the south and west sides.
One of many layers to the migrant crisis.
Yes. It's still unclear this afternoon how someone broke into this Gage Park migrant shelter early this morning. City leaders say they're trying to get to the bottom of what happened, while one female migrant we spoke with says this morning's scary incident has put her on edge.
15th Ward Alderman Raymond Lopez takes a walk with members of the mayor's office, the Chicago Department of Public Health, and staffers at the Gage Park migrant shelter after a man somehow broke in after 2:15 this morning.
Was this intentional because of the migrants? Was this a mental health breakdown? What was this really about?
So this whole migrant sheltering thing, it's starting to crack, and we're all starting to see the holes in the framework, and it is not looking good. Okay? People are breaking into the shelters that are being provided, and they want some type of payback. I believe they want some type of way to have their voice heard, and unfortunately somebody might do something crazy because Chicago is just a crazy place in general. But I mean, there's so many problems that can go on with this.
Lopez says the intruder got into the women's dormitory through this side door that was supposed to be locked, but did not make contact with any of the migrants, while Chicago police tell us the man pointed his finger at the women inside and then ran off. One witness told police she saw the outline of what looked like a gun on the suspect, but a firearm was never seen.
At 2 a.m. while you have women sleeping peacefully, the last thing we need is for some errant man to be walking into their dormitory, yelling and pointing at them.
This migrant from Venezuela staying at the Gage Park shelter did not want to be identified. She says she was there when the man got in. She says some women who were headed to the restroom saw someone on the balcony, and the man told us to shut up and not to say anything, and we were scared.
Oh, hell, dog. Yo, I mean, might have been a hood ninja, might have been a street ninja in a Pooh Shiesty mask. You never know.
Lopez says safety at the shelters is a multi-tiered effort between private security, Chicago police, and the Chicago Park District. He says making sure city shelters are secure is critical.
We need to make sure that when we have a shelter like this, or any shelter for that matter, that we are doing perimeter checks, that all the doors are locked, and that all the stations that are manned are fully manned.
As the city investigates the matter, another migrant we spoke with says she's now concerned for her safety. She says, I don't feel safe because if someone can get in then, it can happen again. And what if that time, the worst happens?
Yeah, and I mean, I don't advocate for violence, but you talking about you don't feel safe in the States is way safer than where you came from. So you don't feel safe here. What is the alternative to go back to where you feel safe, right? But it ain't safe over there, is it? So that's why you over here and you dealing with what you got to deal with. It is what it is. Y'all better band together. Somebody sleep with one eye open. Take night shifts on, you know, keep and watch. Because if people are feeling some type of way about you coming over, then, you know, you might have somebody trying to cause ruckus, dust things up. And I'm not advocating for that, but that's just the result of the frustrations that you're seeing in the city.
Chicago police tell us no one is in custody as detectives continue to investigate this break-in.
With a record number of buses carrying migrants arriving this week, there are now close to 2,000 new arrivals at police stations. According to the City of Chicago data, the 9th District in Bridgeport has the most. 250 migrants are living here.
I'm not speaking out of turn on behalf of my colleagues who feel like we need a lot more help, because right now it feels like it's all been put on the shoulders of the city.
The 9th District Police Station is in Alderman Nicole Lee's ward. A few blocks up the street on South Halsted in Alderman Byron Sitio Lopez's ward, this big empty warehouse is about to become another Pilsen shelter. Members of city...
Wow, and it's crazy. All the things that the city could have done with these empty warehouses, these vacant properties, and they're housing migrants. It's ridiculous.
Councils say it's time for the state of Illinois to do more.
The state has been very slow and, in my opinion, negligent on their response. And I think that, the leadership of the governor is critical right now.
Today, Governor J.B. Pritzker defended his response to the migrant crisis.
The city has received not just resources from the state, but people, personnel, and a whole lot of effort over the last year.
Pritzker says the state has given the city close to $330 million to help with the crisis, but city council members say more than money is needed. While the state was putting migrants in hotels at the beginning of the crisis, it is no longer. Sitio Lopez is calling on the governor to help the city find housing outside of Chicago.
That the governor, of course, can pick up the phone and call other municipalities, other municipalities across the state. We are welcoming the state.
And I hope that cities will raise their hands and offer assistance. We have provided grant opportunities for cities that will do that, and it's a voluntary endeavor. We're not going to do that unless a city asks us to.
Meantime, Pritzker says he has some concerns about the city's plan to build base camps for the migrants.
Yo, man, they're going OD for these migrants and ain't doing a darn thing for Americans. This is wild. It's nuts. It's insane. But this is what we're putting up with. Honestly, this is what we're tolerating. And this is something that's been building up for the longest. And the lame duck year for President Biden, because I don't think he's going to be able to go again, honestly. So this got to be the last one. They're just flooding the border because they're like, hey, F it. This is our Hail Mary.
But I don't think this is the only option. And again, we're attempting to identify other facilities that are already built.
And aldermen and women will likely voice their concerns tomorrow when City Council's Committee on Immigration and Refugee Rights will hold a hearing on the migrant crisis.
Gang violence and other kind of violence.
Get away! I could be at work, at school, in my car, and I can still get shot by the police. I can get shot anywhere.
So it is what it is.